Hey, Bunk Funkers, we finally have merch. Check it out at MrBunkersConspiracyTime.com/merch. There's a link in the description also. We got t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, posters, and more, plus free shipping to the US, UK, EU, and Canada. That's MrBunkersConspiracyTime.com/merch.
In Chicago, two comedian skeptics named Andy and Art were mysteriously abducted by the illusionary mastermind and conspiracy theorist known only as Mr. Bunker. The following serves as a record of Bunker's attempt to convince non-believers of the truth about conspiracies and paranormal activity. Andy and Art give an uninterrupted presentation and verdict on the plausibility of these offbeat topics, delivering what they call the whole enchilada. Will Mr. Bunker convince these two skeptics any of this is real? Will it convince you?
Hello, and welcome to Mr. Bunker's Conspiracy Time podcast. As always, I'm your co-host, Arthur Stone, and with me as always is your co-host, Andy Hart. Just kidding, we don't talk like that.
We're not scary. We're friendly.
We're friendly, but today's topic, Andy, ooh, it's spooky and ooh, it's scary.
I am terrified.
Andy, today we're talking about werewolves. We're talking about werewolves today.
There's a full moon in the bunker.
So
I'm not wearing any pants.
there it is. There's a full moon in the bunker. We're looking at two big fucking
and we're
big
cracking
butts.
a couple silver bullets. That's right. Coors Light.
That's right.
Slurping them up.
Slurping up. We slurp beer up. People keep talking about chugging beer down. We slurp it up.
Look, get with the times, folks.
We have a bidet of beer in the bunker.
We call it a beer day.
Called it a beer day.
It goes up our rectums.
And we goes up our rectums and we get drunk really fast. We're talking about werewolves. We're talking about the legend of werewolves, folklore of werewolves. Are werewolves real? Clinical lycanthropy.
Werewolves?
Where are werewolves? Werewolves.
Oh.
And Andy, if the listeners want to jump into all that spooky little action, they want to go right to London with all the other werewolves. What should they do?
Listeners, hey, if you don't want to hear Art and I talk to each other, but you just want to hear about werewolves, you can check the show notes on whatever podcast listening app you make use of. You'll find there right at the tippy top of the show notes a timestamp. It tells you where to go in the episode so you don't have to hear this gimmick that's about to follow.
That's right. Andy and I every week are captured by the titular Mr. Bunker. And he does it in the wackiest, weirdest, and craziest ways.
He captures our bodies. He captures our hearts and minds.
Now, Andy, last week we had some difficulties, I think. We had some internal intra-bunker conflict. Bunker captured me and roasted me alive.
He tried to cook your living body and eat your flesh.
And he
stabbed you through the guts.
That's right.
With a skewer.
He skewered me like a pork roast and roasted me alive. And he took you on a little boat trip.
Yeah, him and I had a nice afternoon with each other.
So,
nice morning.
We tried to have a little bit of a conversation with him. He's not the most personable, but we tried to talk it out, try to work it out and see what's up. And, well, I think today we'll see the fruit of that effort, won't we?
I think that it was a productive conversation.
Okay.
I think it was useful.
Andy, how did you get captured this week?
Art,
yeah.
You know this about me. Listeners, you might not know this.
Right.
I am a licensed motorist.
Mm.
I enjoy piloting my Automo car, and frankly,
Your Automo car.
I like to have a vehicle that is
driving in my car, beep beep.
both reliable and sexy. And so,
Like you.
just like me. So, I've got an older car. It's a 2007 model year. And
Right now it's having a little trouble. There's a rattling.
there's a rattle.
Of one of the parts in the car.
It feels like the right time to shift gears.
Okay.
And,
You're having fun.
and get a new Automo car to operate. So this morning, I headed out to the auto dealer. And I wanted to look at a few things. And, Art, I am not a believer in buying a new car because as soon as you drive it away from the lot, it loses a whole bunch of value. I think it's a lot smarter to buy a used car.
Okay.
So
I've never owned a car, so I wouldn't know.
Well, let me explain it to you, dear boy. So I went car shopping at the used car dealership, and when you go shopping for a used car, what do you kind of pick a brand?
You want to see the Carfax.
Yeah, you want to see that sexy little puppet show up while you're talking to the people at the dealership.
If I don't see the Carfax, I'm not buying.
I'm not buying. You better show me the Carfax. And I went to a Honda dealership, a car company that I know you love because you love all things from Japan.
No, I prefer Toyota.
Excuse me?
Yeah. I had a Camry growing up. That was the family car, was a Camry. Great car. Still runs. Thing's like fucking 40 years old.
Well, I had a Corolla that needed to have a new engine put in it, okay? So I'm from the land of Honda.
From the land down under. Yep. You're from Ohio, where the Honda plant is.
Honda of America Manufacturing World Headquarters, country headquarters, I guess.
That's right.
Anyway, I went to the Honda dealership, and I have a family. So what am I thinking? I'm thinking probably going to get an SUV. I don't mind driving a sedan, but I think my wife wants an SUV. So I'm like, dealer man, show me some SUVs. So we went through the whole thing. We drove a Pilot, test drove a CRV. I even test drove a Ridgeline. I'm not gonna buy a Ridgeline. Ridgeline. Then the crossover, the Cross Tour or whatever it is. Fine. Last thing on the list. I'm not planning on buying today. Look, I'm just doing the research, right?
You told the guy straight up.
I told him straight up. I said,
I'm not buying, motherfucker.
I said, you try this hard sell shit on me. I'll walk out that door.
Yeah. No, you get hard on me and try and fucking sell some shit. I'll beat your ass. I will take the Carfax and I will beat you with the Carfax.
If you get hard on me, I'll bend you over my knee and bare bottom spank you until you're not hard anymore.
Yeah.
And so I'm test driving all these. One last thing you should try. It's a Honda Element. Now,
okay.
Do you remember the Honda Element?
It looks like a Pop-Tart box.
Right. It's the big boxy thing, completely designed in East Liberty, Ohio. And it...
only in Ohio could they make such a beautifully designed car.
We love aesthetics. And this...
You got a box right there. What more do you need?
To me, I'm not sure if I'm the right target for the Element because it was mainly designed for outdoorsy types.
It was?
Yeah, because the insides were all like hard plastic, like floors and stuff. So it was like easy to clean, and it had all that space for like gear and stuff.
Okay.
But I figure, what the heck? I mean, I'll give it a shot. So I'm test driving this thing, and I'm driving down the highway.
Down the highway.
I'm looking for adventure.
64. when Andy blew a big one, he blew me out the door. The motor couldn't take it, so the engine fell apart. All because of Andy's supersonic fart. Hey! I was driving down Highway 40 in my big old pickup truck. Brack Show? Those are all my driving down the highway songs that I know.
Thank you.
Anyway.
So anyway, we're cruising down the highway, I-69, and...
yeah, baby. Yeah, baby.
We're...
Do I make you Andy, baby?
All of a sudden, all the lights come on the dash.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, gay dealer guy, all these lights are coming on the dash. And
oh, no.
the gauges are like oscillating wildly, all of them.
Oh, good God.
And I'm like, okay, I'm going to try and pull this thing over. So, I start to hit the brake. I release the accelerator and I put I click the button for the emergency flash. It's hard to tell. I think that they're on because all the lights are flashing. And
oh, no.
So I start to pull over to the side of the highway, but the brake doesn't work. And then it's like I noticed that it's like the power steering goes out.
Oh,
the thing is so hard to steer.
So you're literally you're in like a literal box of death.
I'm what I think is happening is I'm careening to my certain
You
death.
are a literal Pop-Tart.
Yeah, I am.
You are a crusty white outside with a gushy, mushy raspberry filling. And you are literally in a box, a Pop-Tart box, flying down the highway.
My attitude screams Wildberry. and
you want some s'more. S'more. I don't know.
S'more. My favorite flavor of Pop-Tart, s'mores.
All right, anyway.
It's cream cheese and chocolate and marshmallow. S'mores.
Hey, Einstein Bagels, get at me.
Yeah.
I'm your marketing.
Come at us.
New flavors, s'mores.
S'mores.
S'more.
Actually wouldn't be that bad, right?
It would probably be pretty good.
If you had...
Strawberry's not bad.
What about like...
S'more.
Just cream cheese and chocolate. S'mores. And then they like... It's a like...
Well, you need some marshmallow.
Toasted bagel.
That's good.
Or like a graham cracker bagel.
You could get in Marshmallow Fluff, the company that makes marshmallow fluff.
Yeah.
And do a tie-in with that.
Yeah.
Einstein Bagels, get at us.
We got great ideas. Hit us up.
So you're flying down this car.
So I'm flying down the highway looking for adventure, and this thing is going wild. And I'm panicked. And the dealer... He's not saying a word. He's just sitting there watching this all unfold. And then it happens.
Oh, no.
The lights go off. Everything becomes like serene inside the car. And like the car starts talking.
Oh, okay. That's not supposed to happen.
And it's like one of those computer voices from like a navigation system.
Right.
So it's like destination in... whatever it said,
Yeah.
And I realized that the car is like driving itself now.
Okay, so maybe this is a feature.
Yeah, I'm like, is this supposed to happen? The dealer is silent, and I notice now that he's got these cold, dead eyes.
Oh my God.
That are just completely white. And I probably never noticed it before because I have no empathy. But he's clearly not of this earth.
Okay.
Well, maybe he's of this earth, but he's not a living human being.
Okay.
And the car drives all the way to the bunker. And I get out. And the whole thing, the dealer, the car, everything is Mr. Bunker. This was the suit he was wearing.
Oh my God, the whole car was him?
The whole car was him. He like constructed this thing, and he was being the dealer the whole time.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And it brought you here?
And the dealer was a corpse. It wasn't a latex dummy.
Oh, so we got like a corpse puppet?
It was a corpse puppet.
Wow, that's fucking gross.
Yeah.
Jeez. He went all out.
But hey, you know what? Count your blessings, Art, because this is 2 weeks in a row where I've just had to enjoy a nice ride to the bunker.
Jeez.
I mean, it was a little scary,
Sure.
but once the initial panic went away, I mean, it just
Yeah. It's not
at
out
the
of
end
the
of the day,
ordinary.
it was
to
just like
be-
a regular Honda Element.
Yeah. I mean, riding with you can be scary at sometimes.
Yeah, so I wasn't doing any of the driving.
Andy has a smooch of road rage, but
I have a lot of rage deep down inside me.
well, that's why you're still in that cage, despite of it.
Despite all that rage.
You're just like a rat.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, Andy, I guess I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
Still a little gross.
I mean, I got a lot of car shopping to do because this wasn't even a real dealer guide.
I know you spent so much fucking time. You
Yeah.
probably thought, here I am. I'm going to purchase a car.
I thought I was making decisions. I mean, I don't even know if I was driving the actual automobiles.
Right.
now.
Right. Who knows if they were bunker inventions or if they were actual automobiles?
Yeah.
We can never be certain.
We can never know.
Andy, in a similar sense, I was out buying a new thing as well. Not
Wow.
something as useful as a car, but
Wow.
Andy, you listeners don't know this, but you know this because you know me, is that I used to play guitar. I used to play it quite a bit from the ages of 12 to 20 something.
Oh, I know.
I used to play.
So you were out buying that. You're going to say that you were out buying that life-size life-size Lego statue of yourself.
What?
You were out buying a life-size Lego statue of yourself.
No, Andy, I was not.
Oh.
No, Andy, no. I was out buying a new guitar.
Oh, a guitar.
I decided, you know what? It's been a little while. I need to get back into it because music's
Mhm.
fun. Music's awesome.
Making music is great.
Making music, making love.
Same thing to me.
Same thing.
I fucked a piano.
Yeah, now it's in tune. Fucked it into tune.
I hit that G key, G spot.
Yep. The key of G. Anyway, I didn't have sex with any instruments yet. So I decided to go down to.
I played a rusty trombone.
I played a rusty trombone. To a local, to a new, because I don't want to disparage Guitar Center, but you should try and support your local music shop, and
Sure.
usually they can order something better or something you're more looking for. Whereas Guitar Center is more like they've just got so much stuff. And I want to support a nice local music shop. So I go down to this music store that just
Buy
opened.
local.
Yeah, I try to do that whenever I can.
What's the name of the store?
The store was called The Music Shack. And I thought, okay. Not the most creative name on the market, but
What are they? Is it like a Radio Shack thing, or is it like a tropical island kind of theme, or is it like a yard work theme to the store?
I mean,
Rundown house.
It had a little bit of both.
Like Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah, it had a little bit of like Cabin in the Woods meets Tropical Island meets former Radio Shack.
Wow. Okay.
So it was, it was in like a strip mall. It was probably like a former Radio Shack, and it had like a
That's
weird.
why it had that vibe.
Yeah, it had a tropical theme mixed with Cabin in the Woods theme. So I decide to go inside, and there's nobody.
Everybody's
really...
wearing flannel, but they give you a flower lei when you
That's
walk
right.
in.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe you've heard of it, but I decide to go inside and peruse, and there's nobody really in the store. Which, hey, it's a small little music shop. The owner or whoever is working the counter is probably in the back, or maybe they're doing something else. And
Oh, you don't just mean there were no customers. There was no person.
there was nobody there. And so I'm like,
Oh, that makes me uncomfortable.
well, you're just hanging out in the store for a little while. I'm sure they're in the back.
I go,
and I feel like I heard some noises in the back or something.
I don't.
They'll find me
If
when
I
they
walk
find
in,
me.
I'm like, should I be here? Hey, is anybody in here? Does anybody work in this place? Oh God, what am I gonna see? Is the
They're like,
clerk?
speak up, you meek little bitch.
Is the clerk dead? Am I walking into a homicide?
Andy, I've never known you to be so socially anxious.
Art. Maybe you've heard of the I-70 killer.
What?
A string of murders.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of it. What does that have to do with it?
Killed shopkeepers. People
Oh.
People like at like a bridal shop, like
Ooh.
guy just murdered him in the back, and you come in and there's nobody in the store, and you discover that there's a homicide.
Jeez, that's
I don't want to walk in on that.
No, I don't either. I didn't see any dead bodies. What I saw were rows and rows of mighty axes from which powerful musicians can make face-melting solos.
Rows and rows. How many guitars did this shop have?
A lot. A lot of guitars. And so I picked one off the rack. It wasn't a Fender brand, but it had that Fender Telecaster kind of body and shape, which is a very standard kind of guitar shape.
Boring.
I wouldn't say boring at all. You would say boring?
Yeah.
I think Telecasters are very cool and very versatile.
Yeah, sure.
And they come in a wide array of colors.
But come on, have a little fun with it.
Well, it had the Telecaster body, that sort of single cut. It was a little bit thinner. Thank you. I do have one single cut. I was circumcised. And it has more of a Gibson-esque headstock. It's a very cool look.
Okay.
So I pick it off the rack, and it is this beautiful cherry red. And I'm like, cool, man. I'm gonna play a little bit. Like, nobody's here. It's fine. If anybody hears me, I'm not very good because I haven't played in a long time. And, you know, I wasn't very good even when I was playing. Because I never put the effort into it that I should have. So I plug it into this amp.
Boy, unlike everything else in your life.
Yeah. And I start strumming away. And I'm playing a couple chords, and I'm doing little ditties. And I'm playing a little P. Diddy. And,
Oh, yeah.
you know, those great guitar solos.
Those riffs, the P. Diddy riffs are probably the
highlight of
he's
his
known
music.
for. Yeah.
So I'm playing a couple riffs and stuff, and I'm playing away, and it sounds okay. There's a little bit of buzzing, there's a little bit of whatever, and it doesn't sound so good. So then I'm starting to get a little bit of feedback. I'm thinking, I'm too close to the amp. I start taking a couple steps back, and still this feedback, and it feels like it's getting louder. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. So I'm trying to unplug it. It won't come out of the guitar. So now I'm freaking out. I think, oh God, I've broken something on this guitar. I'm going to have to pay for it. I have no idea how much it costs.
Yeah, you're on the hook for that.
Do I even want this guitar?
Yeah.
You know? So I'm backing up even further. I'm backing up. Now all of a sudden the cord is completely taut. And this guitar amp is screeching. And I am calling for help. And I'm saying, is anybody out there? Can anybody help me? And it is so loud that I get tinnitus in my ears.
Oh.
And I'm hearing this ringing and everything goes quiet. And it's just getting louder and louder and louder. And there's this pounding, and all of a sudden I pass out.
Oh, no.
Turns out it was Mr. Bunker.
He was the tinnitus?
He was inside the guitar amp.
He was in the amp?
Yeah. He was making it super loud. And I guess that shop never really existed. He just bought it and all the guitars in there.
Those are from his collection.
Might have been. Who knows?
Wow.
So I guess he's a musician now too.
Huh.
And
so many layers to this guy.
Yeah, and he just brought me here. So you got to enjoy a nice ride, and I had to.
You got tinnitus.
Yeah.
Your ears could be seriously damaged.
Probably.
He's messing with your health.
I might need to go to an ENT.
Yeah.
Ear, nose, and throat.
Oh. I thought you meant an entity.
No. ENT. And get my ears
spirit.
checked out. No. But anyway, Andy.
Wow. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What?
Oh boy.
Okay, we're having fun. I have my headphones turned up real high. Speaking of spirits, Andy, we're talking
about to
about
get drunk.
we're about to get drunk on today's topic,
Oh,
werewolves.
Drink it up.
Andy, what do you think about? You ever heard of werewolves?
Yeah, I've heard of werewolves.
Yeah. You ever fight a werewolf?
I've never fought a werewolf. You know, honestly, I've never had a werewolf experience in my life. Although, I'll say this. What game was it? Diablo 2? Yeah, I went down the lycanthropy path in the
You played
expansion,
a lycanthrope.
in the expansion.
I'm sure you got some stat bonuses, but also probably some stat minuses from that, huh?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a burden on your mana, and it doesn't last forever. But you know, if you time it right, it can be good.
Yeah. Well, I think today's episode's going to be good because we're talking werewolves, listeners, here right now. Ooh. Andy, there's a full moon out in the bunker tonight.
Art, I feel different. Like something has come over me.
Yes, Andy. Yes, I feel it too. I have a thirst for blood.
Yes,
And I need to howl.
I can feel it.
The curse coursing through my... no, just gas.
Oh, yep. Me too.
But listeners, what if it wasn't just gas? What if... Oh, Andy.
Oh, these are wet.
There is a full moon.
Oh, boy.
What if Andy and I were experiencing lycanthropy? What if we were real werewolves? See, the folklore behind the werewolf is immensely popular in modern fiction, from the teen heartthrob that dunks basketballs and battles sparkly vamps, to the cursed monstrosity that terrorizes villages. But what exactly are werewolves? Where did the legend come from? And could they be real?
Lycanthropy is the mythical ability for a human being to turn into an animal. Traditionally, this animal is a wolf. It comes from the Greek lycanthropos, meaning wolf person. Typically, this shape-shifting is the result of a curse or other affliction. The werewolf mythos has its roots in classical antiquity. There's plenty of stories about people being turned into wolves in ancient Greece. But let's highlight a couple. The most commonly referenced is the tale of King Lycaon of Arcadia. He decided to challenge Zeus's divinity and omniscience by killing his own son and roasting his flesh. Kind of like Bunker. If you were Bunker's son. We both kind of are. Lycaon then served Zeus the roasted child flesh, and Zeus, having none of that dead child flesh-eating shit, smited 50 of Lycaon's sons with lightning bolts, and then turned him into a wolf as punishment. Fucking get wrecked, nerd.
He did. He got wrecked.
Another wolf transformer is referenced in the Latin work of fiction, the Satyricon. In it, one of the characters, Niceros, tells a story about his friend who can turn into a wolf. He says,
When I look for my buddy, I see he'd stripped and piled his clothes by the roadside. He pees in a circle around his clothes, and then, just like that, turns into a wolf. After he turned into a wolf, he started howling and then ran off into the woods.
Bravo, bravo.
Thank you.
But the werewolf has its roots all over early Germanic tribes of Europe in the Middle Ages as well.
That's right. Germanic paganism had close ties with the wolf as a symbol and initiation of the warrior class, in which the warrior would don the skin of a wolf and probably go into battle or hunt with it, right? Related traditions are seen in non-Germanic areas as well, such as the Balkans and parts of Asia. But these wolf warriors are most commonly tied to Scandinavian Vikings. Nordic kings were known to have bands of berserkers who would wear the skins of animals such as wolves and bears. They ferociously charged into battle, believing the skin imbued them with the strength and spirit of the animal. These berserkers were noted for how friggin' pain-resistant they were, and some modern historians believe they may have been hopped up on hallucinogenic mushrooms.
Oh, hell yeah.
Very cool. But werewolves as we know them don't really start to appear until after the Christianization of Europe during the Middle Ages.
That's right, Art. You see, the Christian medieval kings didn't care much for all this animal skin wearing, imbuing yourself with an animal spirit and business of the pagans. They likened that all to acts of the devil. It's obvious that Christians were going for more of a mage caster class, and the meta was moving away from druid warrior builds. I blame the game devs, honestly, for all this bullshit RNG.
I tell you.
Anyway, Although there are a few stories with similar themes to a werewolf, the term werewolf rarely appears before the 14th century, likely due to the Christian repression of this devil pagan practice.
Werewolves kind of got lumped in with vampires and witchcraft and all manner of things devilish and ghastly in the 14th century Europe. Persecution of werewolfery was a part of the witchcraft trials during the time. Pretty much any time a psychopathic serial killer / cannibal existed from 1400 to 1650, it got attributed to the accused being a werewolf.
Mm-hmm.
And for accusations of werewolfery, we shall have to look no further than the werewolf witch trials.
Aha!
There were many, many gruesome murders attributed to werewolves during this time, and, well, let's take a look at 3 of them. 3 of these tasty little morsels. Andy, help me out with this pronunciation. Gilles Garnier?
Gilles Garnier.
Gilles Garnier. Like the soap.
Gilles Garnier.
Garnier?
Yeah.
Like the shampoo.
Gilles Garnier.
Garnier was a French hermit and cannibalistic serial killer accused of being a werewolf in 1574 in Dole.
Bob Dole, France.
Bob Dole, France.
I assume that's Dole.
Dole? Garnier was a recluse who somehow convinced a woman to marry him. So he moved her out to his isolated little home. Garnier was ill-suited for married life and found it difficult to provide for his wife. Around this time, several children went missing or their corpses were found in the area. The French police of the province issued an edict encouraging the townspeople to apprehend and kill the werewolf responsible. One night, a group of travelers were headed into Dole from a neighboring town when they caught a dim light off in the distance, which they suspected to be this vile werewolf. But what they recognized instead was Garnier with the body of a dead child. He was quickly arrested and put on trial. During the hearing, he claimed that while out in the forest one night hunting for food to feed his new bride, a specter visited him, offering him a special ointment, which would allow Garnier to turn into a wolf, making it easier to hunt. Garnier confessed to stalking and murdering 4 children between 1572 and 1573. He would brutally strangle the children and consume their flesh and, when he had his fill, take home the rest to feed his wife. Garnier was found guilty of crimes of lycanthropy and witchcraft and burned at the stake in 1574.
Art?
Yes, Andy.
There's a lot for you to learn from that story, and I hope that what you really learned is that being a recluse doesn't end well.
We'll see. Getting kind of hungry.
Oh boy. Now, Garnier was a pretty wicked werewolf, but he is a mere playful pup compared to the werewolf of Bedburg, Peter Stump. Stump, also known as Stube or Stube or Stumpf, was a German farmer near the town of Bedburg in Germany in 1564. Now, much of what we know about Stump and his crimes are based on a single English translated German pamphlet from 1590. He allegedly was given the name Stump due to his missing left hand, because the German word for stump is Stumpf. Stump, as we'll call him, was a wealthier farmer of his rural community. In 1589, Stump was put on trial for a number of heinous crimes. After being stretched on a rack, he confessed that he had been practicing black magic, that is, supernatural powers for evil or selfish purposes, since the age of 12. He also claimed that the devil had given him a magical belt, which allowed him to metamorph into a bloodthirsty, greedy wolf, strong and mighty, with eyes that sparkled with fire. A great wide mouth with teeth sharp and cruel, and a massive body with mighty paws. Removing the belt, he said, would transform him back into a human. For 25 years, Stump had allegedly been a bloodsucker who gorged on the blood of goats, lambs, sheep, humans, you name it. After being threatened with more torture, he confessed to killing and eating 14 children, as well as 2 pregnant women whose unborn fetuses he ripped out from their wombs and ate their hearts, panting hot and raw, which he later described as dainty morsels. Oh, and one of those 14 children he killed and ate? One of them was his own son, whose brain he reportedly devoured. Life on the farm sure was tough. And if your stomach hasn't turned enough, dear listeners, Stump also was accused of having an incestuous relationship with his daughter and a distant relative. On top of all this, he also claims to have had sex with a succubus sent to him by the devil because, why not at this point? Stump's execution is one of the most brutal Cannibal Corpse album cover inspired executions ever on record. He was put on a wheel where a red-hot pincer was used to tear away flesh from his body in 10 places, and then also his arms and legs. Then his limbs were broken using the blunt side of an axe to prevent him from returning from the grave, before he was finally beheaded and burned in a pyre. To top it all off, because this just hasn't been brutal enough, his daughter and mistress were also flayed and burned along with him. Authorities, in an effort to warn against this behavior, allegedly erected a pole with a torture wheel on it. On the wheel, they put a figure of the wolf as well as Stump's severed head. So it looks like being accused as a werewolf didn't fare well during the Middle Ages.
Or did it? Did all werewolves use their powers for evil? Thias of Katlenbrunn, or Katlenbrunn, was an old man living in Swedish Livonia in the 17th century. Just how old, Andy? Well, he was in his 80s.
Oh, that's old.
Which by 17th century standard makes you practically invincible or pretty damn lucky to live that long. In 1691, some judges in Jürgensburg brought Thias in as a witness to a robbery. Now, a few locals considered Thias to be a werewolf, but the judges kind of brushed that aside because, it was just conjecture and it really had nothing to do with the case. And besides, this dude was fucking 80 years old. Even if he was a werewolf, what harm could he do? Well, apparently Thias had lost all his fucks a long time ago and had none left to give because he immediately started freely admitting that he did indeed used to be a werewolf, but gave it up 10 years ago. He further explained that during the night of certain religious holidays like Pentecost, he and his werewolf buddies would put on magic wolf pelts that allowed them to transform into wolves. But when the judges, who at this point were less interested in the robbery and more interested in Thias, asked where he got the pelts, Thias changed the stories to be that he and his werewolf bros just went into some bushes, got nude, and transformed into wolves. He then said that he and his wolf pack would run across the farmland and feast on various livestock, but they would also roast and salt the meat before eating it. The judges were kind of like, wait, what? I thought you were wolves. How are you cooking meat with paws? And Thias was just kind of like, did I say wolves? I meant we were still in human form. Anyway, then Thias had kind of explained how he first became a werewolf. He was once a beggar, and one day a quote-unquote rascal drank a toast to him, thereby giving him the werewolf ability. Thias could pass the lycanthropy on to someone else by toasting them, but he hadn't done it yet, though, because he had yet to find anyone worthy of carrying on the responsibility of being a werewolf. And what responsibility is that, you ask? Fair question. Thias explained that werewolves entered hell through a swamp in nearby Lemberg. They would then battle the devil and his army of malevolent witches, beating them with rods and chasing them around while howling.
Here we go.
According to Thias, werewolves were the good guys, and they were hounds of God. The judges were confused, rightly so, but Thias further explained that the werewolves needed to travel to hell to return the stolen goods that the witches had taken from the mortals. If they didn't, there would be a bad harvest that year. He reiterated, werewolves were serving God for the good of mankind, not the devil. The judges at this point were like, okay, dude, well, now we forgot about the robbery. We're going to have to put you on trial to determine whether or not you're a devout Lutheran. To which Thias replied, nah, I'm too old for that shit. He practiced hillbilly folk magic and was known to bless crops and livestock and act as a shaman-like healer guy. You see, the area had only recently been kind of converted to Protestantism, and Thias was still just kind of like, that's not for me. I'm doing pagan magic.
Right.
Thias then recited one of his healing charms, which did not mention God anywhere. So the judges, who I like to imagine were kind of like, Jesus Christ, dude, just shut the fuck up. You're really making it worse for yourself at this point. They sentenced Theus to 10 lashes and then banished his ass for life.
Wow. I mean, in art, these are just a few of the many werewolf tales from the Middle Ages. And listeners, if these stories have you worried about the next full moon, fear not. Art and I are expert werewolf hunters. We're like Van Helsing, but with bigger hogs. Indeed, blessed by girth we may be, but pinning werewolves to one common trait we cannot. The term kind of got thrown around a lot to cover a number of different traits. Werewolves most obviously can either temporarily or permanently transform into a wolf. But this wolf can be a metamorphosized man, or his doppelganger, or his soul. Or it could even just be a summoned animal spirit. So regardless, we're looking at some kind of wolf-like thing.
Luckily, according to European folklore, there are physical traits one can pick up on when a werewolf is in human form. Werewolves were said to have both eyebrows meet at the bridge of the nose, curved fingernails, low-set ears, and a swinging stride. But if you have no time for werewolf profiling, you could always just cut the accused's skin, as a werewolf was said to have fur hiding underneath.
Unfortunately, the appearance of the werewolf in its animal form does vary from culture to culture, but they are commonly portrayed as being large wolves with no tail and human eyes and the ability to speak. In medieval Europe, it was said that werewolves loved to devour recently buried corpses, which was a big no-no during that time. No. Not like now where devouring a recently deceased corpse is fine.
Yeah. It's called a Sunday night.
It's called an ice cream sundae with corpse topping. In certain Scandinavian countries, werewolves were actually old women with poison-coated claws and a petrifying gaze. But Art, let's say one takes kindly after Theus and wants to become a werewolf to battle the devil and his forces of evil witches. How would one become a werewolf?
Well, as we already showed in our 3 werewolf cases, there's a variety of ways to become a werewolf. You can don the skin of the animal or a piece of clothing made of the animal's skin. Some legends say one can be rubbed down with a magical salve to become a werewolf. Mm-hmm. Others, like our friends in Livonia, say you need to drink a specially brewed beer. But this is all getting a little too pagan for our taste, Andy. These are werewolves, and they are the ones who make an allegiance with Satan to satiate their sick cravings for human flesh. So you can also make an allegiance with Satan to become a werewolf.
But hey, maybe it's not entirely your fault. Maybe you don't have a bloodlust for human flesh. Maybe you just had a bad run-in with a witch. Again, as we showed earlier, werewolves and witches go hand in hand like peanut butter and jelly, or the Kool-Aid Man and freelance demolitions day labor. So many of the supernatural powers attributed to werewolves were a result of a witch's curse or linked to witchcraft in some way. And finally, the Christian god or a god like Zeus can curse you and turn you into a wolf. But hey, listeners, say you got turned into a damn werewolf. You know, maybe a witch disguised herself as a wily old hermit and offered you some cool ointment or a rad animal pelt, and you thought to yourself, sure, why not? I've been good lately. I've been eating salads, and I gave a homeless guy a Starbucks gift card. I deserve this. # treat yourself. Well, later you find out this turns you into a damn werewolf. What can you do to remedy this malady?
Well, Andy, I'm glad you asked, because according to the ancient Greeks and Romans, the best way to get rid of lycanthropy was to exercise.
Oh, exercise those demons.
That's right. They believed you could tire a werewolf out through physical activity and hopefully rid it of its curse.
Wolves known for their low stamina.
Yeah. In medieval Europe, there were 3 common ways to cure a werewolf. One was through the use of wolfsbane, which is a very poisonous flowering plant. Another was through surgery. And finally, through exorcism.
Oh, exorcise those demons.
That's right, through a priest. Some Sicilian/Arabic traditions say that you can cure a werewolf by hitting it in the head with a knife, which is really a panacea for anything, if you think about it, because it results in death and cures you of whatever's ailing you. And certain Germanic traditions believe if you speak a werewolf's Christian name 3 times, it can be cured.
Now, Art, what's interesting is when my wife says my name 3 times, it means it's time for my snacky, and I crawl up into my high chair.
Oh. What an interesting home life you lead.
I have a beautiful life. Now, listeners, we can hear you. A quote. I'm quoting you now, listeners. But Andy and Art, what about the werewolves I know and love? The ones that transform in a full moon and run around London and die from silver? What about those, you big, dumb, stupid idiots? End quote. Frankly, first of all, listeners, there's no need for that kind of name calling.
Really no need.
Second of all, we got you, baby. Don't you worry about a thing. The modern werewolf depiction, the humanoid creature that comes out at a full moon, isn't really seen until the late 18th and 19th centuries from works of fiction and film. Some English folklore prior to 1865 showed werewolves to be vulnerable to silver. Also, Bram Stoker's Dracula and Dracula's Guest drew upon the early mythologies of the werewolf. The first time we saw an anthropomorphic werewolf in film was in 1935's Werewolf in London.
Hey, Andy, I know werewolves were vulnerable to silver, but hopefully not the silver screen. Okay.
Pause for laughter.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. Anyway, we've looked at a lot of werewolf tales, but how does it relate to the modern world? Well, there are two branches of thought here. Clinical lycanthropy and hypertrichosis. Andy, being the only one here with a psychology degree, which affords me the right to armchair diagnose anyone I see fit, I'll talk about clinical lycanthropy. Clinical lycanthropy is a rare psychiatric syndrome that involves a delusion that the affected person can indeed transform into a werewolf. In a similar vein as psychosis, the transformation only happens in the mind and behavior of the affected. Clinical lycanthropy is largely considered to be a psychotic episode or part of a larger psychological affliction such as schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, or clinical depression. Since 1850, there have only been 56 known cases of a patient who believed they were metamorphosizing into a werewolf, and only 13 of those cases met the criteria for clinical lycanthropy.
Hypertrichosis is typically misconstrued as, quote, werewolf syndrome, end quote, but it is a very real disorder where an abnormal amount of hair growth occurs all over the body. It can be congenital, meaning at birth, or acquired, meaning it shows up later in life. It can also be general, that is all over the body, or localized, abnormal amounts in one part, like the dick. Typically, those affected with hypertrichosis were subjected to intense ridicule, and many joined the circus as freak show performers. Many were promoted as animal hybrid people. Congenital forms of hypertrichosis are rare. Only 50 cases of congenital hypertrichosis laniginosa,
That's right,
have been recorded since the Middle Ages.
Listeners, we're not here to cry wolf, but are we here to howl at the moon? Are werewolves real? Could the folklore and legends of old be true? Do bloodthirsty wolf creatures walk the streets under the glow of a full moon? Listeners, you don't need to hear it from us. All you need to do is listen to Warren Zevon's rock classic, Werewolves of London. Ready, Andy?
Here we go.
I saw a werewolf with a Chinese menu in his hand, walking through the streets of Soho in the rain. He was looking for a place called Lee Ho Fooks. Gonna get a big dish of beef chow mein. Ow! Werewolves of London. Ow! Ow! Werewolves of London. Ow! Mr. Bunker's Conspiracy Time podcast will be right back after this brief message. Hey, listeners, this is Art. I'm here with Andy.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, we just really quick wanted to say thank you for listening.
We appreciate that you take time out of your day and spend it with us.
And if you feel so inclined, all we ask is that if you're enjoying the show, maybe share it with a friend.
Tell your friends. Have them take a listen.
Maybe they'll enjoy it too. Anyway,
Spread the love.
spread the love and let's get back to the show.
Catch you later.
Welcome back, listeners. It is I, Art and Andy, but in werewolf form. That was our research into werewolves. We hope you enjoyed the show.
I turned into a bear.
You're a werebear.
Werebear.
Werebear, Care Bear.
Werebear, Care Bear, Berenstein, Werebears.
Werebear? Where? Werebear?
I'm a wereduck. I turned into an evil duck when it's a waxing gibbous moon.
Andy, werewolves fun, huh?
A lot of fun.
You big fan of werewolves?
I guess the classic debate is where do you fall? Do you like a werewolf? Do you like a vampire?
Yeah.
Right? Like you got to pick a side.
You know, you can look into some other Van Helsing enemies. Like I think he battled the Frankenstein.
Frankenstein's monster.
Right. You're right. Frankenstein was the name of the scientist.
The doctor.
The Frankenstein's monster, but we're gonna call it Frankenstein from now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Van Helsing.
Yeah. There's other like.
But like the heavy hitters are the werewolf and the vampire.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Like, I'm sorry, Frankenstein, you're the third wheel here. People are getting fucking Count Chocula, or they're getting motherfucking. Is there a werewolf version? There's a werewolf version.
No, there's Count Chocula, there's Boo Berry, and there's Frankenberry.
Oh, fuck me.
There's no werewolf version that I'm aware of.
Tony the Tiger is a werewolf.
He's a little known fact. That's why Tony the Tiger is so sexy, is because he's actually a human.
He's got me
Turned into a
petrified
tiger.
me. You know what I'm saying? Rock hard when I see Tony the Tiger. Andy, where do you fall? Are you a vamp guy, werewolf guy? What do you think?
I got to be honest. I'm a werewolf.
Which
guy.
one you say you're going to be a furry?
I'm a werewolf guy.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. Oh, hey, look. It looks like there was a werewolf cereal
Hell yeah.
called Fruit Brute.
Jeez.
And it, you know what we're forgetting? Yummy Mummy. I remember
Yummy Mummy. Yummy Mummy, of course.
Yeah.
So you're a werewolf guy.
I'm a werewolf guy. I mean, I'll be honest, like, I get what the appeal is with vampires, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're the undead.
Live forever.
They live forever.
You can force people to do whatever you want.
They have, I mean, you know, at some point, though,
blood.
at some point, I'm kind of like, okay, like, we're giving vampires too much power here.
They have so many powers.
Like, vampires are like sometimes I feel this way reading about comic book characters. I'm not into comics really,
Yeah.
but you know, like,
I'm starting to get into them.
you are, and like comics
know
are
this.
sort of, comic characters are like sort of pervasive in popular culture today
Right.
with the Marvel Cinematic Universe and DC's allegedly very terrible movies. I don't know, I haven't seen any of them.
Yeah.
But you know, so often it's like these comic book characters, it's like, oh well, of course he's got superhuman strength and like a superhuman dong, and like he's radioactive at his heart, and you can't kill him except in a really specific way. Like it's like, okay, like
We get it.
like then nobody has superhuman strength because they all have the same level of strength.
Right.
Like somebody's got to be stronger than the other person.
Yeah.
And vampires it gets on my nerves.
I've been reading a lot
Werewolves-
of Hulk stories lately.
Yeah.
The Hulk stories are actually really fun.
Yeah.
And the Hulk is supposed to be like the strongest, but it's like, but you know,
He's not, right?
well, he is. He's the strongest.
Yeah.
And there's like, but the thing is, like, there's different storylines. There's a storyline where everyone's like, Hulk is too much. We got to get rid of Hulk. So a group of superheroes who are called the Illuminati, which is Reed Richards of Fantastic Four. I'm probably going to get roasted by fucking comic nerds for all this, but that's okay. I'm new to the franchise, okay? I'm new to Elvis, okay?
Okay.
Reed Richards, I
Nick,
think.
correct this when you listen.
Iron Man, which is Tony Stark, and then there's like two others that I'm forgetting. I think Captain America. They all decide Hulk is too powerful. We got to get rid of Hulk. So this is called World War Hulk, and they shoot Hulk into a rocket ship out into the fucking middle of nowhere. He ends on this alien planet. long story short, he becomes the king of the alien planet. He comes back to Earth to try and take Earth over as revenge. And Hulk is just too fucking strong. He's too angry. He's stronger than all of them. He's stronger than Captain America. He's stronger than Iron Man. Even in Iron Man's Hulkbuster suit, he's stronger than Thor. He's stronger than the Thing. Everything. He's the strongest. But it's like, wasn't like someone else, like who's like.
Then it's like, okay, so Hulk wins.
Yeah.
Like he murders all the other.
Hulk can't die. He's immortal. There's another story where it's fucking the most depressing story I've ever read, where Hulk is the last thing alive on Earth.
Wow.
The entire Earth is just an apocalypse, and just like all Bruce Banner wants to do is die, and Hulk will not let him die.
Wow.
It's actually like, I think you'd enjoy it. I enjoyed it because it was so non-comic-y.
Yeah, but so like then it's just like this thing of, okay. Well,
right.
Hulk should beat all the other superheroes.
What can actually fucking hurt the Hulk, It's kind of like nothing. It's like,
why should
he
we
always
care
comes
about
out
any
on
of these
top.
other threats?
Yeah.
Hulk is just,
Superman is a better example, right? Superman is invincible.
Oh yeah,
Heat
Superman.
vision. He's got cold breath.
Superman does everything.
He can fly.
But he does have one weakness.
Right. He's got kryptonite.
Yeah. They build him with a weakness, which is nice. Vampires, what's their weakness?
Stake to the heart, garlic.
Yeah,
sure. Sunlight.
Yeah.
They can't come inside unless you invite them in.
Yeah.
But it depends on what folklore you're looking at.
Right. But all those things are like,
Right.
Like you have to do something.
Certain vampires are like just way too overpowered.
Yeah.
Like certain D&D vampires, if you fight them, it's just like, geez, you can like never kill.
Yeah, what can you do?
Certain ones. You just have to like leave them.
But werewolves, I like them because they're more like me.
Cursed.
They're given to their passions for inexplicably they go into a fit of rage and they act like an animal, and they're at the end of the day they're just humans trying to do the best they can, but they don't understand themselves enough.
I think,
and they can't control it.
So you're like a toddler?
Yeah, basically.
You can't express. It doesn't understand.
I can express things.
Okay. You struggle with it.
Yeah. Don't you ever do things, Art, as a human where you're like, God, why did I do that? Right immediately after you do it?
Certain times, but only with awkward situations.
I do it a lot with all kinds of stuff.
I'm just like, why did I say that?
I try to learn from my mistakes.
Do you?
I don't know. I like to think that I do, but hey, people who know me that are listening, call me out on this. Get at us on Twitter and tell me all the ways that I'm still a failure.
You're not a failure.
Please don't confront me with my failures.
Oh, wow, lovely. I think I'm with you, Andy. I don't know, certain depictions of like Twilight vampires are not cool, but
I'm not familiar with the Twilight thing.
Oh, they're just like, it's like all the other stuff, plus they sparkle. And they're just like, they also have like super strength. So like, and then you start getting into like the true blood vampires, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, these vampires are sexy and they're like underground and ghoulish and ooh. Ooh, I want to have sex with a vampire.
Oh, wait, vampires are hot.
Ooh, vampires are so hot. Hey, welcome back to the Vampire Podcast. So I was thinking about vampires the other day, and I was thinking about how cool it would be to have sex with a vampire.
Vampire sucked me off.
Oh my goodness, that vampire sucked me off so hard and fast.
I don't have any blood left.
Oh, I was like a shriveled up raisin.
I was like a shell of a human.
I don't know. I think I like werewolves because they're like cursed. But like so are vampires. Vampirism is a curse.
Mm-hmm.
But werewolves have that like
vampires like it too much.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like there's a lot of vampires. No vampires I know are like, I gotta get rid of this curse. But werewolves are always like, oh, why did I kill again?
Yeah. And there's the thought of like the monster hunter who
I don't know why this is funny to me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It just is. Oh no, I'm cursed again. I'm a vampire.
Oh, darn.
You got me, devil.
Oh, out, Satan.
Yeah, meanwhile, the fucking lycanthrope is like, oh, fuck, the lunar cycle.
He wakes up and there's blood and he's like, oh, God. I brought so much pain to my family. And the vampire's like, oh, did I suck another body dry? Oopsie poopsie.
Ew, you guys want to see me turn into a bat?
Oh, look at me. I'm going to throw big rocks around because I got super strength. I can fly. Guess what? I have super speed. Guess what? You can't kill me. I'm already dead.
Well, you can if you drive a stake through their heart. Now, what about Nosferatu? Are you into Nosferatu?
What's the difference, though? I don't know.
He's creepier. He's just like a really old vampire.
Really creepy. Like
I don't know. We're not here to talk about vampires.
Is Nosferatu the king vampire?
Nosferatu. We're not here to discuss vampires.
Okay,
we will one day discuss vampires. And we will discuss
Art's been
Nosferatu.
petitioning Bunker Horde to have us do vampires.
Well, I have a lot of things to say about them. Werewolves are fun because there's that curse element really comes into play with them. That this is a curse, that something happens to them. However, when you start to like, so much of what we know about modern werewolfery is total works of fiction. The actual werewolf folklore is so rooted in all this like weird paganism and like obscure druidic beliefs.
Yeah.
It's kind of neat.
Well,
like especially like theists, like his certain historians said that his beliefs were tied into other pagan beliefs of like northern Italy, where they also believed that werewolves were good and like hounds of God and would fight evil witches, and they blessed crops and shit like that, and did healing curses with magic crystals and whatever the fuck else, you know?
Yeah.
But it's just kind of cool. Like there's so much of this like, just that like early paganism is so interesting because we never fucking learn about it.
Yeah.
You don't really learn about druidic stuff unless you get like really deep into history.
I mean, hey, we talked about it in our episode about Rapa Nui. When Christians take over, they try to wipe the slate clean with all the pagan beliefs. I mean, you know, Christianity co-opted pagan holidays.
Yeah.
To make them Christian holidays. Like that way people...
Mine now.
That's a Jesus thing. And
that's true.
You know, they would have, you know, tried to get rid of all of the totems and relics of the pagan belief systems. But it's obvious that outside of organized religion, I mean, everywhere on earth, people have always had like a wide variety of gods that have been worshipped and a wide variety of religious practices.
Yeah.
It's just that we don't know that much because Christianity is so rooted now, and other major world religions. I mean, I'm not saying Christianity is only, but
we're talking about it because it's pretty prevalent in where
specifically
we live,
for this thing,
where we grew up, et cetera, et cetera. It's
right.
you know.
You know, if there was werewolf lore in Spain, I'm sure that like Islamic conquerors also tried to wipe that away from the face of Spain. But we're specifically talking about like European legends where Christianity is the deciding factor.
I mean, it's just interesting, you know. It's like this stuff, like early forms of like astral projection that you could like project yourself as this like wolf spirit and go like fucking hunt demons in hell. It's like, damn, this is pretty fucking badass.
Yeah, that's I mean, honestly, that's a friggin' kick-ass story.
It's a fucking cool movie.
Yeah. Why don't they make that movie?
I'd play in that campaign.
Yeah, that'd be a great game. Way better than the game where you strip nude in front of your friends and then urinate on your clothes.
Yeah. Some of the traditions not as cool. Oh, did I say magic pelts? No. We just got into a bush and got fucking nude, and then we were wolves. Yeah, me and my friends, we
Yeah,
like to
me
go
and
out
my
into the bush and we get fucking stark naked and then we pretend we're wolves. Were you into it?
Yeah, no, me and my buddy,
You think you can handle it?
we hit up there out in the woods and we strip down naked. We take shit on our clothes. And next thing you know, we're freaking rhinoceroses.
We're ancient fucking were-rhinos and we charge around with our big old horns out. We hunt demons and witches of the Serengeti. But it's Hell Serengeti.
Hell's
difference.
version of the Serengeti.
Yeah. Serengeti. Anyway, we've been battling the devil for a while. We usually do battle on Saturdays around 6 unless Trevor's mom won't let him out late because he forgot to take out the trash. So if you think you want to come down, come down.
The original D&D player.
LARPing. Oh, God. There are groups of people who get together and LARP or believe that they're werewolves. And you can find, I think, some news story did a piece on some poor kid who probably believes he's a werewolf and goes out into the forest and pretends with his friends.
So there's a low number of clinically established lycanthropy cases, but what are people experiencing when say they feel some sort of connection? Is this just like a delusion to a werewolf, oh, I feel I'm a werewolf.
Yeah, I mean, I think,
but it's not clinical lycanthropy. It doesn't rise to that level.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's probably just an episode, like we said, of a larger psychological affliction. You're schizophrenia and you're having these delusions or hallucinations of wolves and werewolves. I don't know entirely how they make the distinction between true clinical lycanthropy and just they're talking about werewolves, I guess. I don't know. Maybe if your entirety of your infliction manifests itself around werewolves, that's clinical lycanthropy. But if you're just kind of having delusions, I don't know. I can't say for certain. Though.
Interesting for sure.
Yeah. I like fucking some of these stories, man. Boy, are they brutal.
Hey, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
And I think this is an aspect that is true for a lot of witch trials. So obviously, Peter Stump, he confessed to all these crimes only after being tortured and only with the threat of more torture.
That's
which
right.
Obviously, in today's view of how the law should work, his confession would be null and void because it was made under duress.
Right.
What's the sense that he actually committed any crimes?
Well, I don't know. We have shit evidence.
Right. It's such
the only thing we know is a pamphlet that was translated from German. We have the English translation, and it's 16 pages long, and that's what we know. And
it's just
that's what we have to work off of.
So interesting to me because we'll never know.
We'll never know.
They won't be able to go back and establish
fucked
this.
Up. I mean,
for sure.
There's also a part of the story that we did not put into the research that we can talk a little bit about.
I just have to sit back and think.
There's some background here, right? So from the Peter Stumpf Wikipedia page, that Stumpf, that there was an internal warfare between the electorate of Cologne, and the, I guess that would have been in Germany, so it's not French.
Cologne.
Basically, what was happening was Stumpf was most certainly a convert to Protestantism, which, there was kind of this, the Protestants were defeated and the Bedburg Castle became the headquarters of Catholic mercenaries during the time. And so Catholicism was sort of the thing that they were trying to do there in where Stumpf was at. So it says here that, so it is not inconceivable that the werewolf trial was but a barely concealed political trial with the help of which the new Lord of Bedburg planned to bully the Protestants of the territory back into Catholicism. It had only just been another execution of a werewolf and a couple of witches, as occurred about this time in various parts of Germany. The attendance of members of the aristocracy, perhaps including the new archbishop and elector of Cologne, would be surprising. Furthermore, the trial remained a singular event. However, this does not mean that the charges were without basis in fact. The execution of a mere Protestant convert would have been deeply unlikely to have drawn the aristocratic attention that Stump's trial did. And while it was unlikely for the elite to attend any given werewolf or witch trial, the sheer scale of Stump's alleged crimes would have made it more visible to the public at large and the nobility. So it seems like there's a little bit of both in play here, right? Like Peter Stump was this kind of like, oh, hey, we can pin it on this Protestant motherfucker to make an example.
Yeah.
Also, we're not sure 100%, but hey, I think he probably killed some people. They just said werewolves were the fucking catch-all for anything they didn't understand.
Right.
Obviously, they didn't understand what serial killers were. Obviously, they didn't understand what psychopaths were.
Yeah.
Anything. I mean, fuck, even until like the
Profiling's a relatively new science.
Yeah, and even profiling as a science wasn't really even fucking... It's still debated and was not even really set in stone until later in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see that in the show Mindhunter on Netflix. But I like to think it was probably a little bit of both.
Yeah.
So there was a political play here, but there was also like, Stump was probably like a serial killer, like a fucking psycho at the time.
Okay.
Killed some people.
Yeah. I have to wonder too. Did he get his hand back when he turned into a wolf, or did he just have one paw?
No, that was another part that we left out of the research, was that they thought they saw a wolf with a missing hand, left paw, and they were like, Peter Stump, that dude has a stump. We gotta go kill that motherfucker.
Let's get Stumpy.
Get Stumpy, that great Edward Norton film. Yeah, I think, boy, that motherfucker just was checking him off, huh?
Yeah, boy.
You gotta imagine that, like, he's down in like fucking whatever layer of hell that they have him down in, and some of the other people are like, oh, don't go near that guy. That guy's fucked up.
Yeah, he's probably
people like Stalin and Hitler are like, oh, we don't sit with him.
No, he's weird.
He's gross. Fucking 8 fetuses heart. Like, fuck, dude.
Yeah. It's
8 fetuses heart. He's just checking him off, like, all right, well, I've had incestuous relationships with my daughter.
You know what I haven't done?
Children.
Murdered my daughter while I'm having incestuous relations with her.
It's always been a dream of mine to have sex with a succubus. I think I'm going to do that next. That's my summer project.
You know what I'd like to do? I'd like to suck the devil's dick.
Devil come. It'll turn you into a werewolf.
Ow!
I like, that's another my favorite with Garnier, is that he got a fucking ointment.
Yeah.
Listeners, don't put on ointments that you get from random people. If a ghost comes up to you in the forest and hands you an ointment, don't put it on your body. That's not a safe ointment.
Well, look, we know you're trying to impress your new bride, but
you don't need to do that. You're already married.
Yeah.
They love you for who you are. You don't need ointments.
Yeah.
Unless you got a rash.
And then you should see a doctor.
Then see a dermatologist.
Not a ghost in the forest.
Not a ghost dermatologist. A regular one. Fuck. What is with you listeners?
Listeners, stop going to ghosts in the forest for all your needs.
God, they're not pharmacies.
There are professionals who can help you.
They're parapharmacies. And then Theus is like, I like to imagine, Theus is like, yeah, I'm a werewolf, and my coven of supernatural avengers travel to the night to battle evil witches and the forces of Satan and his army. And I have a magic wolf pelt, and yes, I practice back magic, but only to combat the forces of evil. The judge is like, sir,
we just asked you what your name is.
Sir, the question was, is this your handwriting? He's like, let me tell you about...
Did I say that I have a pelt?
Yeah.
Sorry, not the pelt.
No, I got naked in the bush with my friends, and then we go do battle.
Could you please get off the stand?
It's like 80-year-old man just like, and then we went to, let me tell you, back in my day.
Do you think
We fought Satan and the witches.
Do you think that he just wanted to share this story? He just wanted to talk to somebody?
I think he was 80 years old and probably so far off his rocker. I mean, to be 80 years old in 1699 or whatever, 1691.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
You didn't live past like 30 or 40 back then.
He was old.
This motherfucker was 80.
You just have to, you have to kind of wonder about his mental state.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
It's a good story, though.
It is a good story.
It's a great story.
So interesting piece of research that I didn't really include in the script, but I think it could be fun to talk about is the idea of werewolves from a evolutionary perspective. How could werewolves actually evolve? How could they actually, how could they, if it's not for some sort of magical reason, right? It would have to be that werewolves are the offspring of humans and wolves, right?
Right.
Which, that already kind of puts it in some gray area. A werewolf human.
Is the gray area the
wolf's butt?
Vagina?
Oh, the wolf's vagina? Yeah. How do you procreate? In the anus?
In the butt. Every animal does it in the butt. Art, you've been looking at too many cloacas online.
Let me tell you.
Mammals, on the other hand.
Can't help it. So, Rational Wiki, which is linked in the show notes, talks about 3 distinguishing characteristics, right, that we can look at: the reversibility of the transformation, the speed of the transformation, and the supposed link in some cases to full moons. Now, the non-reversible lycanthrope transformation would be strongly selected against for one obvious reason: the difficulty of child rearing. Because wolf pups are born able to fucking rock and roll right out the gate. They pop out of that fucking vagina and they're wolf bushy. Some wolf bushy. And they're ready to go within no time at all. There's the level of maturity necessary to feed themselves and fucking do what they need to do. Totally different than humans, right?
Yeah.
Humans have a multi-year maturation process. So a lycanthropic human stuck in a wolf-like form is kind of severely restricted in child-rearing ability. Like nursing, burping, and changing a diaper are all beyond the capabilities of the paw-formed hands.
Right.
So,
sure.
More than likely, the wolf-formed father cannot teach his daughters about the benefits of abstinence, it says, and generally is not granted admittance to purity proms. I guess the author is putting some jokes in there.
Boy.
Thus, only reversible lycanthropy is selected for. If there were werewolves, they could only go back and forth. You can't have humans that permanently transform into wolves, right?
I'm sure.
Because you could never procreate and keep the supply moving.
But if you
would just be wolves.
But what if we talk about it in the sense that there is no, there's no transformation? Could we create a race of wolf human hybrids?
That's what they would have to be.
Yeah.
You can't have humans that permanently transform into wolves.
Right.
Because from then on out, they would only be wolves, or they would just die off.
Right. The thing is different.
Right. But you can either have werewolves that can transform back and forth, or you can have hybrid people.
Yeah. I think the reversible thing is just something that doesn't exist. But could a hybrid exist? I think it could.
It could.
I
don't know anything about genetics, but
we only have to go back to our human evolution
episode number 2
to understand that there's that humans actually have a lot of different reports of mating with different kinds of animals, and dogs are right up there near the top of the list. And a dog is basically a wolf. So I think there's a possibility that you could have it. Now, the one thing would would this offspring be viable?
Would it be able to have more offspring?
Would it live, first of all, and then would it be able to procreate? But as we saw in our human evolution episode, you maybe don't need to have a whole litter of human wolf hybrids.
Just need one.
You just need one that's viable that could maybe continue breeding with humans or continue breeding with wolves and grow up in the population like that.
A werewolf human hybrid would be a powerful asset in a lot of different areas. Think about it. The speed of a wolf, the ferocity of a wolf, the power of a wolf, but also with a human.
A gun.
Think of the possibilities. Yeah, I mean, a gun kind of fucking... Unless we're talking about actual mythical werewolves.
Yeah. The wolf skills
don't help.
Look, wolves, we got you. We almost extincted you.
Listen,
we had to put laws in place to stop it.
To all of our
good at killing you.
Wolf listeners, we apologize.
Yes, we're sorry. But humans,
we
are just
think you're majestic
very,
now.
Very good at murdering animals.
We're so fucking good at. We are so much more better at killing and fucking making you go extinct, erasing your existence than you are to us.
Ugh, we're so.
You
good.
had us for a long time, wolves. We'll give you that.
You had
and
us on the run.
You still do.
I still don't want to fight you, but you know what? I could burn your house down.
If I have a gun or a Liam Neeson, you're fucking done.
Sorry, wolves.
Now, Andy, do you think... Here's an interesting question. I was listening to Arian Foster, former running back for the Houston Texans, now retired, and getting his degree in something, I think now. Good for him. Way to go, Arian Foster. He was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and listen, whatever you think about the Joe Rogan podcast, he gets interesting guests. And where else can I listen to Arian Foster talk about weird shit?
You're a well-known Arian Foster fan.
Yeah, I mean, I think I had him on a couple fantasy teams. Not when he was good. Not when he wasn't injured.
I believe
maybe that was Lamar Miller.
Foster went to Tennessee for college.
He did. Not a fan of the NCAA. Another reason why I like him. Very outspoken about the NCAA and their bullshit rules. Anyway, the point of the story is Arian Foster was posted on Twitter that he could fight a wolf and win. And him and Joe were talking about that at length for like half an hour about if they could actually fight a wolf and survive. Now, obviously, Arian Foster
and win.
Survive.
Oh. They debated about surviving.
I guess winning. I guess, yeah, he would kill the wolf.
He claimed he could win. Arian Foster claimed he could win.
Right. Now, Arian Foster in incredible shape. He's an NFL running back, incredibly strong.
He's a vegan.
He was a vegan.
He ditched veganism?
I think he on the podcast said that he went back.
Wow.
I could be wrong. Allegedly. I'm going to say allegedly. I don't want to, don't come at me.
Wow. That must be why he's healthy.
You said it, Andy. Oh, you said it, boy. You said it, Andy. You said it, boy. Woo, Andy, you're going to get us in trouble. Anyway, Andy, do you think you could fight a wolf and win if your life fucking depended on it?
If my life... I think about this a lot because...
you have a lot of run-ins with wolves.
Well, no, I just always... Do you ever see like a big dog on the street and you think, oh, if this dog...
I just want to pet it.
If this dog goes crazy and attacks me, what would I do? Little dogs, you can just punt them into next week. It's fine. But, I'm talking about these like big dogs.
A big ass mastiff, a Rottweiler, a pit bull, fucking German shepherds.
And I don't know. I think that
massive jaws.
We have
so powerful.
We have abilities to, I don't have to come at a dog just from the mouth. You know what I mean? Like I don't have to bite a dog. I can like put it in a chokehold or something. I can wrap my legs around its neck and then it's not going to get me.
Right.
So I think
you've thought about this while jerking off.
Yeah, only while jerking off. I don't know how I would fare. I don't think that I would I don't think I would necessarily win, but I just like my human odds a little bit more than dog's odds.
I'm surprised to hear you say that. I thought you would say I'd be. Now, wolves are big, dude.
They are big.
Have you seen a wolf?
Yeah.
Seen that gif of that wolf?
What gif of a wolf? I don't know.
Where it was the wolf on the road and then the light shines on it and it's just waiting there. Whew, those motherfuckers are big. What was I going to say?
Wolves are big, and I think what you're getting at is that you're going to question that if I have the raw strength to handle a wolf.
Fuck, those things are big, dude. And here's the thing. You got a lot of little vital. That thing bites you in the wolves are smart. They know to go for the groin.
Yeah.
It'll bite your fucking dick off. And then I'm serious. And it'll hit. All it has to do is hit one of those arteries in your groin area. And you're fucked. You're done. You're going to pass out from blood loss, and that wolf is going to eat your corpse, Andy.
Yeah.
Other things about animals is animals don't fight to the death unless they have to.
Right. Unless you push them.
That's how animals survive, is that they understand fight or flight. They don't have embarrassment. They're just like, oh, I don't want to die. I'm going to leave.
They fight to the point that they lose, and then they leave.
Yeah, then they leave. I've lost. I'm going to leave.
Yeah.
They're not going to sit there and like humans will sit there and fucking like sustain multiple injuries and keep going and keep persevering.
There's no quit in us.
We don't quit, and that's why we win.
So watch out, wolves.
So on the one hand, all you have to do is kind of hurt that. Like you have to get the wolf's health bar to like the yellow zone, and that wolf is going to leave.
Yeah.
Whereas that wolf has got to get you to red, baby.
But
that wolf's got a fatality.
I mean, here's one thing. The wolf is a weapon, but I could make a lot of weapons.
I think in this hypothetical situation, you don't get weapons.
If it's a room and it's just me and the wolf, I mean, I don't know. It's tough.
I don't know how well I'd fare.
Keep in mind, wolves are pack animals too.
It's one wolf.
Right. So I'm saying I think that helps.
Yeah.
Because the wolf will have to come right at you.
But that motherfucker, those things are fast and it bites you. All it has to do is get you in one part and you're...
Yeah, if the wolf bit me at all, I would probably be like, oh, and then I'm dead. He would just like walk away because I'm being
fucking like jumps up, gets you on the face in any way.
Yeah.
Like if your back started taking hits, you'd be fine. But you're instantly going to put your arms up and then it's got you. Its jaws are wrapped around your forearm and it's fucking has control of you. It's shaking you back and forth. All of a sudden it tears your arm out of your socket.
But in a way, you have another arm.
Yeah, I mean, you're punching it in the face.
No, you wound its eyes as bad as you can. That's what you got to go for.
It's got a sense of smell, though.
Yeah, but you got to wound its eyes. Like, that hurts.
Yeah.
The wolf, if you just, like, jam your thumb right in the eye socket, the wolf's not going to like that.
No, it's not. I don't know.
But, yeah, you'll lose that arm.
I think you're going to die from blood loss.
Well, as long as I get the wolf as good as he got me.
Yeah.
I'll consider myself the winner.
So you think you can get a draw?
What? The wolf can't write about it, and I can. With my dying breath, I'll send a freaking text and be like, I murdered a wolf.
And all of us will be like, oh, Andy's doing some dumb bit.
And then you see in the newspaper, and they'll be like, well, he murdered a wolf.
Yeah.
They'll find a dead wolf.
Wow. I don't know, Andy. I think for me...
Yeah, what do you think?
I think a draw. I just think we're both going to die.
Oh, okay.
What do you mean? A truce.
I thought you were going to be like, that wolf's going to see me and it's going to recognizes game. And that wolf is just going to be like, I don't need this. If you don't need this, let's just end it here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to be overconfident. I've never even, I mean, I have powerful legs.
Mm-hmm.
If you could get up under that wolf's tummy and get one really good kick on it and just fucking like rupture its wolf spleen, its wolf lung.
Like, think if you could like stomp really hard and like snap its knee or something in the back, like its back legs.
Yeah.
Like if you get it backwards.
Then you got it hobbling.
Yeah. Where it's
and you can get that thing on the ground. That it has no ground game.
Right.
A wolf on its back, a wolf is only good when it's on its four legs, and yeah, you're right, they're pack animals.
Yeah, if you break the wolf's legs, that's your play, I think.
Pause, dude. scratching at me, because I'm imagining it pounces at me. I'm on my back. It's got its fucking jaws probably over my arm, and then my other hand is smacking it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Listeners, what do you think? You think you could survive a fucking wolf attack? Let us know. Hashtag, I could fight a wolf. Let us know what you think, if you could survive a wolf attack or fight or kill a wolf one-on-one.
I'd also, if the wolf even got close to me at all, I would shit myself instantly just to like poison the air and like make him think twice.
Like the poisonous claws of the werewolf.
Right. That's my own transformation. I transform into a shit goblin.
Yep. You're a little goblin boy. You're a little imp. Andy, do you have anything from the research, points of discussion that you want to bring up about werewolves that we haven't covered?
I think what I want to say is, hey, if you're a werewolf, let us know. If you can transform into some other animal, tell us about it.
Andy, what were animal would you pick to transform into?
Oh, wow. You got to there's a little bit of calculus involved in picking an animal, I think.
Well, there's two schools of thought.
And here's why. Was that barn owl?
What? I don't think barn owl was here. I would turn into a were owl.
I would turn into the Flatwoods Monster.
I would find the Flatwoods Monster. I'd turn into a were Flatwoods Monster. And then finally, me and the Flatwoods Monster would live together in holy matrimony. We'd have sex in hell. We'd go down the hell. If the Flatwoods Monster was in hell, I would go to hell for it. Find it and be my bride. Have delicious sex with the Flatwoods Monster. Oh my goodness. Anyway, get out of here, Barn Owl.
Thanks, Barn. Good to see you again. I guess he lives in the bunker now.
I guess he's just a part of it.
Because here's what I'm thinking, Art. If you're going to pick an animal, you want to pick an animal that's cool, right?
Hell yeah.
Because the point of being an
I'm not going to be a were chinchilla.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be a were chimpanzee either, probably, right?
Yeah, you already are one.
I'm basically that now, like a really unathletic, neglected chimpanzee. I'm like a chimpanzee that was on TV.
You're washed up.
And now nobody knows that I live in this abandoned house, but I'm also locked in a cage. And
oh God!
But there's an easy reach of food nearby, and I just have no discretion and just eat
Is this like a philosophy argument? Like what is this situation?
So you want to pick an animal that's cool,
Yeah.
but you also, I think, you want to pick an animal that's not going to get murdered. Like if you picked a rhinoceros, if you were a were rhino,
You're gonna get poached.
You're gonna get poached. It's gonna happen. So you got to find that sweet spot where it's a cool animal that people don't want to murder. So I kind of feel like if you're gonna be anything, I'd be like a were eagle.
Oh wow!
Because you'll have like sick ass talons.
You're an endangered species.
You're protected by law.
Yeah. That'd be pretty cool. Here's the thing.
Because being a were Canadian goose, no, thank you.
Fuck that.
I don't want to be a were goose. I want to be a were eagle.
Yeah.
Plus, you get to eat all that delicious fish all day.
Lots of salmon.
Yeah.
Wow, Andy. Wow. I can't believe you said that.
Plus, think you could attack your enemies.
You could still do it. Huge talons on those motherfuckers.
It would, if anything, being a were eagle would be better than being a werewolf. Because, a werewolf, you're leaving a trail. People will know where the wolf paws go.
There's two schools of that.
But were eagle,
Were eagle.
You just
War eagle.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
War damn eagle. Go Tigers.
Man, Andy, I was gonna say a were osprey.
Oh wow!
We're both werebirds.
But wait, what's your logic?
They're cool and fast, and they dive. into the water
Okay.
and kill fish.
Hmm.
And here's the thing. Eagles are cool. Okay. I am not shitting on our national bird.
That's good because you'll go to jail for that. Believe me.
I shit on a lot of birds. Trust me. Don't get me started on
I
birds.
can't believe that you picked a bird of all people.
I know I hate birds, but I don't hate predatory birds.
What, you hate owls?
I hate owls.
They're predatory birds.
Yeah, but I hate
You're such a hypocrite.
Okay, I like other kinds of predatory birds that are cool and majestic. Not creepy and weird like owls.
All right, just to spite
They're
you,
long
I would be
eggs.
a were-owl.
Fuck you, dude. This podcast is over. The eagle, the traditional call of the eagle that we hear in many tropes. Yeah, not an actual eagle.
What is it?
I think it's a red falcon.
Oh.
The actual eagle has a very whiny, not cool, not majestic call. Yeah, literally.
Okay, I've heard it before. Now that you say that. You know what I love? The blue falcon. Falcon punch! What a majestic call.
You'd be a
What was Captain Falcon?
Captain Falcon. Red-tailed hawk.
Oh, it's a red-tailed
It's dubbed
hawk.
over with the red-tailed hawk. Has a much more, way cooler. And the actual bald eagle sounds like,
The national bird was almost the turkey.
I know. Can you imagine? Yeah, the eagle just is like, my werewolf actually.
Scree.
Scree. Yeah, I think I'd have to go predatory bird. No one's really hunting you. You can swoop. You can fly. You have talons. You have a beak. You have lots of different methods of attack. Now, obviously, you can still get shot out of the sky.
Sure. That's why I went with eagle.
Yeah.
Because at least then your killer will have to face justice.
Well, if an eagle attacked you, don't you have a right to kill it? Or no?
I don't know.
Can you kill an endangered species if it's attacking you?
That's a great question.
Listeners, let us know if you know the answer.
Know the answer to that question.
If you've killed a endangered species out of self-defense, let us know. Hashtag I've killed an endangered species out of self-defense.
I had to strangle an African elephant.
That polar bear was about to fuck my wife. I'm not getting cooked by a polar bear, I'll tell you what. Killed that motherfucker.
Killed an animal in self-defense. I can't believe we both picked predatory birds.
We're not so different, you and I, Andy.
I think another thing that would be good if you could go into anything. Does it have to be an animal, or could it be any other living creature?
I don't understand that question at all. You want to be like a red oak? No. You want to be like a ficus?
No. I'm thinking about being like a disease, being a virus.
You already are. You're already a fucking disease. Let me tell you. You could be a podcast.
What if you were a whale? That'd be kind of cool.
Whale.
If you were a blue whale,
that'd be pretty dope.
You'd be like just hanging out down at the bottom of the ocean. Or
a salamander.
You could be a tardigrade.
There you go. Yeah, then you're indestructible.
Right.
And they're indestructible.
I mean, you can't do anything, but
I'm a bacteria. I'm a amoeba.
Try and kill me.
I can survive.
I'm going to go into stasis.
Yeah, hottest temperatures on the planet.
Yeah.
The coldest colds. Andy, let's give our verdicts, and then we got a couple of fun little segments after we give our verdicts. I don't think there's going to be any surprises here.
Get ready to be shocked, listeners, because I'm saying case closed. Werewolves are 100% real and badass.
Yeah.
No, listeners, come on. Give me a little credit here. Case closed. The werewolf's not a thing.
I'm in agreement. Case closed. Werewolves are not real. These were times where people didn't understand what a psycho was, what a serial killer was.
Times of great superstition.
Great superstition.
Grape superstition. My favorite soda.
People were only drinking orange.
Stevie Wonder's brand of sodas. Grape superstition. Strawberry superstition.
People were so superstitious of grape.
Have a superstition. 7 years of good luck.
Oh my God. Yeah, werewolves, sorry. They're fun to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Cool to talk about, not real.
It's
clinical
fun.
lycanthropy is also just a form of delusion.
Yeah.
There's nothing there.
It's like severe dysmorphia.
Hypertrichosis, you're not a wolf person. You just
have excessive hair.
You just have an abnormality.
Yeah.
Which unfortunately,
if you know
coupled
somebody
with extreme ridicule.
If you know somebody with excessive hair, hypertrichosis, don't ridicule them.
Well, you're probably not going to find a lot of them because there haven't been many cases. There's actually a really interesting statistic where it's like localized to one family in Mexico is like this trait of some form of generalized hypertrichosis, congenial, where it's all over the body. And you're thinking like first of all, let's make a quick distinction.
Congenital general, you mean it's all over the body.
Yeah.
It's a at birth condition.
But it's that languine hair, which is the type of hair that babies are born with.
Mm-hmm.
It's very thin and soft and only, that covers their entire bodies. And it's only in other certain spots do you get the thicker hair that covers our heads and pubes.
Pubic areas.
And other areas. We're both very hairy people, Andy.
Yeah.
Now, I've never seen what kind of bush you're packing, but I can't imagine that it's pretty thick.
I let it run free. I got gray chest hairs now.
Now?
It's like probably right now if I take off my shirt. You want me to take off my shirt?
No, it's okay. I've seen you without your shirt. Yeah, you got a hairy chest.
But I got gray hairs now.
Oh, gray hairs. I thought you said great.
Oh, no, gray hairs.
I thought you were like, yeah, my fucking chest hair is stunning.
That's so beautiful. No, I have gray hairs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Mm.
Jeez. All right, Andy.
Deborah. You seen Ray?
Oh, that's his brother?
Doing a Brad Garrett impression from Everybody Loves Raymond.
Deborah, it's me, Ray. I'm a werewolf. Oh my God, my brother got turned into a werewolf.
Deborah.
Andy, let's take a trip back to the year is.
Let's take a trip.
16.
Before we go,
69.
I just want to say one thing. Nice. I just want to say one thing before we go.
Oh, okay. Say one thing before we go.
If werewolves are real and we know it and we're trying to figure out who's the werewolf, you know where I'm starting? Anthony Davis. He's large, thick unibrow. He's got a swinging gait.
He's powerful.
He's a werewolf.
Wow. Listeners, you heard it here first. The LA Lakers center is a werewolf.
It's confirmed.
Actually, I don't know if he's going to be playing the 5 or the 4 because they just signed Dwight Howard.
Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ. NBA is such a joke sometimes.
Anyway, let's go back to 1669.
The year is 1669.
Summer of love.
Summer of love and speculation. Andy, you have been put on trial.
Oh.
And I want you to describe what you've been put on werewolf trial for. People are accusing you of being a werewolf. I need you to tell me, Andy, what you were put on werewolf trial for. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then they want you to explain how you got turned into a werewolf, how you gained your magical werewolf abilities, and what you did. I guess those are all kind of this. So 2 questions. What you did, how you got turned into a werewolf.
No question. The crime I'm charged with is large-scale killing and eating of livestock. And here's my feeling. When you go on trial for something like this in 1669, and you're accused of being a werewolf, there's two paths you can take.
It's two schools of thought.
You could try to deny the allegations.
Yeah.
And I think what you'd have to do is show how faithful you are to whatever version of God is holding sway over the authorities at the time.
Yeah.
Or,
for the sake of argument, we're in Germany and it's the Christian God.
Okay, so I gotta swear, I gotta prove how Christian I am and just how loyal to the faith I am.
Right.
Or you just accept your fate, that there's no argument you can make that will get you out of this, and you go as hard as you can into that story, and you go out in a blaze of glory.
Wow.
And that's the path I would choose, because these aren't logical people at this point. They accuse you of being a werewolf. Your arguments about how that's dumb aren't going to work, and how faithful you are. So I would go super hard into it.
Okay.
So I would probably I would take credit for a lot of crimes that I know I didn't commit. I mean, pretty much if they said any crime, I would say, yeah, I would improv it, and I would say yes and. So they put me on trial for all this livestock. I'd probably say, yeah, have you noticed any unsolved murders? Because I did those too.
The missing Leif Eriksons.
I would say
Swedish.
Yeah. Do you remember the Lost Vikings? I killed them. I would take credit for really high profile crimes.
Yeah.
In other,
the Bishop of Hamburg.
Yeah.
I killed him too.
In other places.
Yeah.
I would take credit for political turmoil.
Wow.
Starting wars. I would take credit for. And yeah, I think probably the most fun thing for me is I would probably how I would turn into a wolf is kind of up for debate, and it'd probably just be what I felt like in the moment, and I would just stick with it. I think that an ointment is really fun.
Ointment's the coolest
that I got, but it's like I would probably say, oh, I got a full body massage from a witch, and it had a happy ending. And when that happened, that's when I turned into a wolf.
Oh my God.
I would be real graphic in the telling.
Yeah, you had premarital, which they already would fucking not be into.
Right. And
premarital relations with a witch.
Yeah, with a witch. And I would say that whatever the magic ejaculate turned me into a wolf. And what other questions did you want me to answer?
What was the question? That's it. I mean, I guess, how do they put you to death?
Oh, how do they put me to death?
Yeah.
I would take credit for so many things in the trial that the only thing that would be in my mind at this point would be topping Peter Stump. I would want them to do more things to my body than they did to him.
Jesus Christ.
And I would probably say it in the trial that there's only one way you can kill me, and you have to take these very specific steps. And it'd be weird things like, oh, you have to shave off all of my body hair, and then you have to slice 1/8 of an inch thick slabs off of my buttocks, each one in turn.
Jesus. And
then you have to paint my entire body in the brightest red you can find.
The dye was expensive back then.
Yeah. Yeah, I would make it a big spectacle.
Yeah, a huge pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Wow. That's how you go out, Andy. That's how the werewolf of Andy.
Yeah. But I would take credit for a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like 100 Years' War.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that was.
You want to get into the history books?
Yeah. I would be like the Crusades. I'm the reason that the Christians didn't win.
Wow, now you're really pissing him off.
I would just be antagonistic about it.
Oh my God. You'd like filibuster your own fucking criminal trial?
Yeah.
By just listing off crimes?
Any crime I could think of.
Oh my God.
Did you think, have you put any thought into what you would want to be as
a little bit. I think I'm with you that definitely the coolest way is either an ointment or a fucking, I'm going to go with the opposite. I'm going to go with a rad fucking sick ass animal pelt.
That's pretty cool too.
Like a whole animal pelt costume.
An animal pelt is cool, but it's not as funny as an ointment.
It's not as funny.
That's why I would say ointment.
So I think I found some fashionable pantaloons. Or lederhosen.
Wolf-lined
lederhosen. That cool as fuck succubus that I just got done having a big succubus orgy with in hell gave me as a present, as a going away present. And I have a cool wolf hat that has I have a cool wolf cowl that's the head of a wolf.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm strutting around town.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of like, I think, they'll eventually take me in. And I think mine would just be all like I would just come up with the most mystical stuff I could. Like, I would be like, yeah, I had sex with a bunch of succubuses. And like, I would like, just anything, a lot of curses. I'd be like, oh yeah, you know why all your hair fell out? Yeah, it was me. I was having sex with a succubus and I cursed your name. Did you know you could do that?
Yours is just all about having sex with succubi.
Oh yeah. If you're coming into a succubi and you scream out someone's name, they're cursed for life. And I've screamed out all your names while orgasming. And they're just like,
that's right. I think that's right. I never think about the succubus.
And then I put
I only think about you.
I put my legs up on the thing and across my leg, put my hand. Yeah. I've gotten around a bit. I'm just like fucking strutting around the thing.
Would you ever consider
I'd be like, you guys have to tell me more, but I want some treats. I want some honey cakes. I want some currywurst. I want some schnitzel. I want food. I want my last meal. I'll tell you all about hell and everything else.
Would you ever consider going the route of being the good guy?
Maybe.
In your testimony?
Maybe. I mean, that is kind of funny.
It's funny, but...
Be like, no, you guys don't get it. Like, I'm helping you guys. What you're doing is you're making it worse.
Yeah.
You have paw in mouth. Like,
I don't think it's for me, personally.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it helps you.
No, it didn't help.
They're going to be like, they're going to say, well, you're still a werewolf.
I mean, Thies got off with 10 lashes.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Who knows? Who knows? I mean, are they really going to beat the shit out of an 80-year-old man?
Right.
Lash one. Lash two.
Yeah.
Spanking him. Yeah.
Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
Oh. Hey. Oh. Yo. Hey.
Andrew Thies Clay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hey, I'm a werewolf.
One lash. Oh.
One lash. Oh. The boy who cried wolf. Hey. Oh. Yeah, I've never seen Andrew Dice Clay. It's apparent.
Hickory dickory lash. You whipped me in the ass. Oh.
Hey. Oh. Hickory dickory lash. I got this cool wolf sash. It gives me great power. And then
I turned into a flower.
Oh. I'm a werewolf. Anyway.
Yeah. So my strategy would be to take credit for all the evil deeds in humanity.
All right.
I was the serpent in the Garden of Eden.
Jeez Louise. Well, listeners, that was our werewolf. Sorry. I took some wolfbane. That was our werewolf trial story. If you've got a fun werewolf trial story, let us know. Send us an email at mrbunkerpod@gmail.com or tweet at us at mrbunkerpod. Use the hashtag #mywerewolftrialstory. My dear Andy boy, is there any last words before you are sentenced to death for your crimes of werewolfery, lycanthropy, and witchcraft?
I just want to say that accusing me of being a werewolf is rough. I'm here to raise the woof.
Okay. Now we have to do the whole episode over.
You're barking up the wrong tree here.
Oh, I had written down one thing I want to say real quick.
Oh, okay.
Do you think Peter Stubbs' motto is, I'm here to feast on the flesh of a fetus heart and till the soil, and I'm all out of soil?
Yep.
Okay.
That was on his coat of arms.
Just want to get that out there. Anyway, listeners, for the titular Mr. Bunker and for my redoubtable co-host,
I know that one.
I'm Arthur Stone saying that was the whole enchilada.